A very good morning to all of you and welcome to the session, the Hindu Editorial Analysis for Proficiency in English. At the outset, extremely sorry for the delay, almost 9:15, and let us start the session with the snippets. What is the first one here? EC decision, postal ballot counting process to be tweaked. There's one important word here, tweak. Tweak has got two different meanings. One meaning, tweak means to pull or to twist. Twist, one meaning. Another meaning of tweak, to fine-tune something. Fine-tune something, make something better. Two different meanings. Here, postal ballot counting process to be tweaked means to fine-tune. You have to take the positive meaning. Coming to the second one, push for self-reliance. MOD, HAL signed 62,370 crore deal for 97 light combat aircraft. Combat means fight. Yes, Bhuvaneshwari, twist. One meaning, another meaning, fine-tune. Combat aircraft. And otherwise nothing to learn. Self-reliance. Rely on, depend on, bank on. All these phrasal verbs you have to recollect. Coming to the next one, criminal conspiracy. Francis Sarkozy given 5-year sentence. Some conspiracy, criminal conspiracy. Usually conspiracies are criminal nature. Criminal conspiracy, someone has been given a sentence. 5-year sentence. In the exam, they may give 5 years sentence, then it is wrong. Sentence is a noun, and before that we cannot use a plural form. 5-year sentence. Coming to parlay discussion, is the American dream dead for Indians? Today you all know Trump has announced $1 lakh US visa fee. Based on that, that is a stimulus. This has been written. Is the American dream dead for Indians? The higher H-1B visa fee could hurt more Indians. You will understand the entire thing. For that, you have to read the article. Important article, it is going to make a negative impact on many people. Booking a berth. Here, berth means a position in the finals. Pakistan to meet India in Asia Cup final. I think they are going to meet for the third time. First time India won, second time also India won, and they are going to meet the third time and the finals. When I say the first, the second, the third, you have to recollect the rule. Before ordinal numbers, we use a definite article, the. Coming to the main headline of today's Hindu paper, the front page, lay tens under curfew a day after death of 4 protesters. Yesterday also I read out, and some people, protesters, vandalized. Vandalism means what? Damaging public property. Based on that, continuation of that, lay tense, situation is tense over there. Under curfew a day after death of 4 protests. They have imposed curfew. When we use the word curfew, what is the word we have to think of? Impose curfew. Dozens of people. Here dozen used as a noun. Thousands of vultures, hundreds of birds. But if you use 100 birds, that is correct. Hundreds birds is not correct. You got to look at the phrase. Dozens of people, nothing wrong. Detained. Detention is a noun form. Detain is a verb. To keep under police custody, we use the word detain. Bodies of people killed, handed over to kin for last rites. Kith and kin. Every person has his own or her own circle, social circle. Friends, acquaintances, relatives, all together we say kith and kin. Last rites, rituals, you have to recollect. Promulgate also you can think. Satish Kumar, very good. Impose, levy, wonderful. At least 15 suffered serious injuries, says DGP. Security forces warn people against venturing out of their houses. Residents observe a shutdown in Kargil. Coming to the next headline, SC wraps government of MP. CBI for inaction in custody death case. Here we have a news that goes with SC wraps government of MP. CBI for inaction in custody death case. Here you have to understand questioned, not happy with the action, not happy with the inaction, to be more precise, wraps in a way to question. Someone has to be answerable. Someone should answer. Why inaction in custody death case? Here we have a comma. Government of MP, CBI for inaction. Try to guess the meaning based on the context. Euphemism, you have to recollect all those. Coming to the next, the snippets this side. Security amount cut for ship that sank off Kerala. Security amount cut for ship that sank off Kerala. What that security amount, we don't know. You have to read the article. Only then you will come to know. Yes, you should recollect an MP, an MLA. Very good. 13 Kerala nurses booked for loans taken in Kuwait. If you go to West Asia, you know a lot of Malayalis you come across, and many of them, they take up the jobs are usually, these are all general statements, nurses. From where? From Kerala. 13 Kerala nurses booked for loans taken in Kuwait. SIT detains singer over the death of Assam celebrity. SIT detains, taken to custody. Someone is not allowed to go out. Then we use the word detention, detain. Regarding someone's death, a celebrity's death. Abbas distances himself from Hamas's actions. Distance oneself from, keep away from, keep someone at arm's length, an important idiom. Keep someone at arm's length, maintain safe distance. Coming to the next one, this side, what do we have? We have one more here. Sri Lankans being trafficked to fight Russia's war in Ukraine, UN expert. There's one important word, trafficked. Generally, we use it with human trafficking. What is human trafficking? Selling people illegally. Usually, human traffickers, what they do, they go to tribal areas or villages, they kidnap young girls and boys, and the boys are sold to industries which employ child labor. Industries like carpet manufacturing, bangles, fireworks, all these, glass, all these involve child labor. And also girls are sold, they are taken to red light areas in big cities, and they are sold as prostitutes. They get into prostitution. And many NGOs are working against this particular mafia. Human trafficking is a major problem in our country, and a lot of NGOs are working. It talks about being trafficked, Sri Lankans, to fight Russia's war in Ukraine, according to one report. Coming to the next one, government withdraws FCRA permit of Wangchuk's outfit. Simple words, Ladakh crisis is BJP government's own creation, Congress, accusation, allegation. That's all from the front page. I think I've covered all the news items. Now let us go to today's editorial. Today's editorial is a bit very important, because usually nowadays everyone talks about very good, Pravalika, crisis, women trafficking, better expression, human trafficking. And traffickers, you can also Naidu, yes, drug cartel, drug syndicate, peddlers, drug peddling. There we use another word, drug peddlers. Climate change, environmental problems, but surprisingly this editorial talks about a completely opposite stand taken by the US President Donald Trump. Let us see how it goes. Hot air. Donald Trump's rant against climate change science is helping no one. There's one important word, rant. Rant means to speak loudly, noise, with a lot of noise, usually without much sense. Not sensible talk, we use rant. Loud and noisy manner. Rant against climate change science is helping no one. Why is that headline? What exactly did Donald Trump say? President Donald Trump delivered to the United Nations General Assembly an address that was allergic to facts. This is something very strange. He delivered a speech, and the writer says, a word of caution. Whatever I say here, not my personal opinion, based on the editorial, objective analysis, not at all subjective, nothing personal here. Whatever the editorial says, I try to interpret. Allergic to facts, that's an important expression. When we say someone is allergic to facts, what does it mean? They don't want to accept the facts. They don't want to accept the facts. Allergic to facts. Why that statement against Donald Trump, describing climate change as the greatest con job perpetrated on the world? There are two words here. One is con job. Usually I say in our country, we have a lot of God men, Babas, all these Swamijis. A few of them are con men. Con means to cheat. He is a con man, means he is a cheat. He tries to cheat others, deceit. These words you have to. The greatest con job perpetrated. Perpetrate means to continue, to develop, to make something last for a long time. Perpetrated on the world. He said that Europe's decades-long trimming of its carbon footprint had come at the expense of shuttered factories and job losses. Today, trimming of its carbon footprint. Those who know the problems that deal with environment, that go with environment topic, they understand. Many countries are trying to cut down the carbon footprint. In that process, they may shut down the factories. Once the factories are shut down, obviously results in layoffs. Sentence talks about that. First of all, he makes a statement, greatest con job. That is very strange. But why does he say that? You have to read the editorial. Greatest con job perpetrated on the world, imposed on the world, you can say, perpetrated. And he said that Europe's decades-long trimming of its carbon footprint had come at the expense of. Come at the expense of means come at the cost of something. You have to lose something, then we say at the expense of, at the cost of. At the cost of what? Shuttered factories and job losses. In his Luddite conception, negative word Luddite. Yes, you have to recollect words like show the door, pink slip. But do remember, we use the words, these are all related words. Based on the context, you have to use the appropriate word. Just because they are synonyms, you cannot say, you can use just like that. That you have to keep in mind. In his Luddite conception of the workings of climate change, means something like conception, means thinking. Luddite, positive or negative word. Perhaps hasty or not completely, cannot be justified. The workings of climate change, scientists in the early half of the 20th century had said that global cooling would kill the world. It seems early 20th century, scientists said global cooling, they talked about global cooling, they said it would kill the world. Later what happened? And when that did not happen, they said global warming would. Initially they said opposing, okay, Luddite, opposing, fine, good. And here initially they talked about the world coming to an end based on what? Global cooling. And now they are saying, everyone knows that world would come to an end because of what? Global, not cooling, because the heat, warming. And because the world did not end, has the world ended? No, the world has not ended. Based on this, what is his statement? Because the world did not end, he reckons. Reckon means to think. Reckoning, serious thinking. Reckons. Dishonest scientists now refer to it as climate change, to sound correct irrespective of the outcome. He is criticizing scientists. The sentence talks about because what the scientists said did not happen, He says, he uses one term, he thinks, he reckons. Dishonest scientists now refer to it as climate change. Because the world did not come to an ending, they say they are referring that as what? Climate change, to sound correct, irrespective of the outcome. They want to sound correct, and based on that, they're calling it climate change, and the result may be something, irrespective of the result. Ponder, you have to recollect, SPK collections, very good. Never mind. Now the writer has used a particular phrase 3 times. Never mind, never mind, never mind. Means he's telling the stand taken by Trump is not correct. The facts are contrary to what Trump says. That's the reason why in one sentence Trump is allergic to facts that has been used. Now all the 3 sentences after that, same phrase. Never mind the fact that the average global temperature dip of zero point 0.1 degrees from 1945 to 70 was attributed to an increase in sulfur emissions from burning coal. Again, never mind that there is an intergovernmental panel on climate change that has, since the 1990s, provided a forum for thousands of scientists to tease apart the effects of natural variations in climate from that due to human caused ones. That means anthropogenic. Anthropogenic means what? Based on human interventions. Again, never mind. Never mind that climate change, the term, means precisely that global warming does not mean hotter weather everywhere, but a larger disruption in the circulation of ocean currents and therefore increasingly erratic weather. All these talk about they are contrary to what Trump has said. 3 points, all the 3 points, never mind, never mind, never mind. Erratic means unpredictable. Here we talk about hotter weather. It doesn't mean hotter weather everywhere. It means what? Change in the patterns. Change in the patterns based on what? Circulation of ocean currents and therefore increasingly erratic weather. Erratic means sporadic, unpredictable, whimsical. Very good. Naidu, I appreciate that. What does the second part say? Mr. Trump's chagrin means annoyance. That's also an important word. Chagrin means what? Annoyance, anger. He is less about the subtleties of climate than it is about what it means to the fossil fuel industry. There are 2 things over here. One is being disturbed because of climate change. Second, being disturbed because the fossil fuel industry is getting affected. The sentence says Trump is not interested in climate change. He is more interested in the damage being caused to the fossil fuel industry. Mr. Trump's anger, annoyance, chagrin is less about the subtleties of climate, subtle means slight, of climate, than it is about what it means to the fossil fuel industry. Again, a word of caution. Based on editorial, I am doing the interpretation analysis. To him, the increasing adoption of solar and wind energy was evidence of countries being on the brink of destruction because of pursuing a green agenda. This is a bit strange. Why today entire world talks about green technology, sustainable goals, sustainable practices. But what Trump says, to him, what does it mean? The increasing adoption of solar and wind energy. These two come under non-conventional sources of energy, renewable sources of energy. But traditional, conventional sources of energy, non-renewable sources of energy, fossil fuels. And so many industries depend on fossil fuels. So many countries, economies of so many countries depend on fossil fuels. And what he feels, if governments, countries go for green technology, they will definitely get affected. They may be on the brink of, on the verge of collapsing. To him, the increasing adoption of solar and wind energy was evidence of countries being on the brink of destruction. That is a bit strange because of pursuing a green agenda. This is for the first time we come across someone saying green agenda is not correct and we should not go for green agenda, something like that. That the president of a country which once led the science of parsing the subtleties of anthropogenic warming. Parsing means analysis. Parse means analyze. Parsing analysis of. This is very strange. Whatever the US president says, it is contrary to the stand taken by the American scientists, entire scientific community. Sentence talks about that the president of a country, which country is that, which once led the science of parsing, analyzing the subtleties of anthropogenic warming, anthropology, scientific study of mankind in time and space. Anthropogenic means man-caused warming, would one day stand on one of the world's most prestigious podiums, which won UN General Assembly, to undermine it. The country that has been respected for scientific prowess, expertise. Today, the president of that country standing on a prestigious platform, the United Nations platform, podium, and he's trying to do what? Undermine the country's stand. Undermine means weaken. One day stand on one of the world's most prestigious podiums to undermine it shows that deference to scientific wisdom is a thing of the past. Deference to scientific wisdom is a thing of the past. A thing of the past, an important expression. Something that belongs to the past, not in the present situation. There are legitimate criticisms of the multilateral process in place to guide climate action, determining justice and equity in remedial action, and whether the impact of the climate crisis is undermined, even by its adherents, by making it subservient to the zero-sum chicanery of trade protectionism. Very difficult to understand. So many words are there. Belittle, very good. Here it talks about what? There are legitimate criticisms of the multilateral process in place to guide climate action. It seems some people have been criticizing, and that criticism is legitimate, means acceptable, legal, but not legal in this context, right, appropriate, just. These are the words you have to think of. Legitimate criticism of the multilateral process. One layer, multilateral, multi-layer, multi-pronged, multifaceted, you have to recollect, in place to guide climate action, determining justice and equity in remedial action. What is the meaning of remedy? Solution. Remedial action, thinking of solutions, and whether the impact of the climate crisis is undermined. That's a question, whether it has been undermined or not, weakened or not. Even by its adherents. What is the meaning of adhere? Adhere to means stick to, comply with, adhere to, stick to, follow. By making it subservient means making it subordinate, making it inferior to the zero-sum chicanery of trade protectionism. The perspective of the leader of the world's largest economy on these would have been valuable. The perspective of the leader, outlook of the leader of the world's largest economy on these would have been valuable. The complexity of weather changes means that it is reasonable to be perplexed about the mechanics of climate change. The complexity of weather changes means it is reasonable to be perplexed. Perplexed means confused, bewildered, startled. Startled has surprised another meaning. The complexity of weather changes means that it is reasonable to be perplexed about the mechanics of climate change. Not easy to understand, then what do you say? Perplexed, confused, bewildered, baffled. Very good. Painting it as a harbinger of Mayan apocalypse. Harbinger, someone or something that indicates something else is going to happen, something else is going to come. Harbinger of something. Important word. Harbinger of what? Mayan apocalypse. Mayans predicted the end of the world. End of the world, doomsday, we say. Apocalypse, an important word. What does it mean? The day when the world comes to an end. We also use the word indicator, simple word, yes. And we also say doomsday, entire world comes to an end. Hasn't helped either. Yet it is clear that due to a slow accretion of hard evidence, accretion means accumulation of hard evidence, falsifiable conjecture. Conjecture means thinking without complete information, and measured prognosis. Prognosis means something like, it's a medical term, and here it means something like guessing or predicting. The scientific process is working the way it should. Despite its inefficiencies, the climate confabulation is something like conversation, discussion, process, has positioned the world towards a post fossil fuel future. No RAN can change that. Today, to what extent it is true, that is a different thing. But entire world is thinking of moving away from fossil fuels, post fossil fuel future. People don't want to depend on fossil fuels. World has moved on. But still someone talks about that, it is not going to help. No rank can change that. Whatever the US president says, that is not going to make an impact. It is not going to change. This is a stand taken by the editorial. I think this is an important editorial. You have to read once or twice. So many words are there, and some of the sentences I did not elaborate. I've just skipped certain patterns. The reason for that, to explain those, I have to provide the background information and a bit of scientific information related to environment, related to fossil fuels, sources of energy, and that takes a lot of time. For a common man, this is not an easy editorial, especially a few parts. You need background information. Now, what I suggest, today you guys are very lucky. What is the reason? If you don't have the background information, you can Google. Within no time, you get background information. And based on that, you can continue with reading. Yes, very useful, thought-provoking editorial. Naidu, you're right. Nice editorial, but not easy to comprehend. You have to read twice, thrice, and here and there you have to get background information, but extremely useful. Have a nice day. Thank you very much. Can you close this door?